lounging. Yeah, how you living, ski? Yo, I'm just lounging, B. Yeah, how you living, G? Yo, I'm just lounging, B. Yeah, how you living? I'm lounging. It's the free.
All right, we're in. Welcome back. Lounging with Larry podcast. I haven't done one of these in, I think Del Reed was the last one we did, but when was that? Back in November, maybe? Yeah, so we've been hyper-focused on other things, but it is what it is. But welcome, Joe Haniszewski, one of my oldest and best friends. Finally, we get you on the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So reason you're here, Buffalo Motorama, this coming weekend. Well, not the reason you're here. We'd have you on anyway. March 24th, 26th, Buffalo Convention Center. Really cool stuff. You want to tell us a little bit about what we can see, what's going on, all that kind of good stuff?
It's a really, really big car and bike show. It's technically the 65th year of indoor show in Western New York. The largest one on this side of the state, too. Going to have 200 plus cars, bikes, snowmobiles, tons of different vehicles that everybody's going to like to see. Then we bring in a lot of different attractions like Star Wars and superheroes, and we got TV and movie cars and some Sabres coming out. It's everybody in the family is going to like it.
Nice, yeah. Rob Ray, Marty Baron, right?
And Rick Jenneret.
And Rick Jenneret. Oh, speaking of Rick Jenneret, so Joe got me this for Christmas, a signed Rick Jenneret mic, which is super cool. I usually have this out, doing some different podcasts and all that, but yeah, super cool. But yeah, we've been to it a bunch of times. Great time. Come on out and support a local guy like Joe.
No, it's fun. It's the 11th year of us doing it. It's we started it back in 2011, so 13 years ago, and it's just grown more and more. And we got a lot of people that come in from other states, Canada and the U.S. People that are buying tickets all over the place. I mean, we're seeing like 4 or 5 states away.
Yeah,
coming in just to visit it.
Yeah, it's super busy. I mean, drinks and food, all kinds of stuff going on like that. I mean, if you haven't had the roast beef sandwiches at the convention center, they are like, turkey. Yeah, they are like, I'm not kidding. Those are some of the best. Like, it's got to be low key one of the most underrated sandwiches. Like, I'm saying, you can go get a roast beef on Weck anywhere in Buffalo, but I mean, that is. We had one. We went down to the auto show, and we had one there. It was fantastic.
Their food's actually really good there, but I mean, the
good.
carved turkey sandwich is just you go there every time we go there for any event, so we just grab one. It's actually really good. Their food is actually good there.
Yeah, that is a highlight. That's a highlight in itself.
It's a highlight more than the car show. Is that what you're saying?
No, it's a highlight. I like the cars, but I like the roast beef sandwiches too. So. It's good. So tell us how you started. What year is this? How many years have you been doing?
This is the 11th year of the show. We started back in 2011. We had a hiatus in 2020 and 2021 because of COVID. But in 2020, in the fall, we were talking about saying, hey, there's no indoor car show in Buffalo. There's a brief break for 4 years. So we said, hey, why don't we try to do bring back the indoor show? 6 months to plan it, reserve the convention center, get the cars, get the featured builders, get sponsors, vendors. 6 months, planned it, successful.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It was fun. It was a lot of work, and as we said, if we could break even or make money and have fun doing it, we'll keep doing it.
Yeah, it's amazing. So, and what I like too is that which have you done this all the time where you had the marketplace, or it was called the Motorama Marketplace, or what is it called now?
It's Motorama Marketplace now. Can't even remember the name we had before.
What was it called before? It was something catchy too, I thought.
Yeah, but we made it, I guess
wasn't it the Woman's something or Women's
Oasis? Yeah. So a lot of guys didn't want to go.
Probably not politically correct.
No, you probably can't say that anymore. So Motorama Marketplace is more.
You probably had a bunch of guys standing outside the last year. You called the Women's Oasis picketing.
We want cookies.
Why is it the Women's Oasis?
You just want to buy some cookies and crafts. We like those too. But yeah, no, the marketplace more because I mean we got a lot of different vendors and they build have different things. Your koozies and your crafts and food and. There's some really good stuff that comes out every year.
Yeah, no, I like that part of it because it's just one more thing that you add on. That's like, oh, there's another room over here, but it's not cars. It's stuff that's different vendors and interesting stuff like that.
Right.
Like we went to the home show, so let's break out this whiskey.
There we go.
Cinnamon. So I'll give him a little plug. Four Flights Distillery in Corning was at the home show a couple weeks ago, and I picked up a bottle of this. This is cinnamon whiskey. So what I like about it is, like your other flavored whiskeys are pretty sugary. Like, what is that called? The peanut butter whiskey? What's that called?
Screwball.
Screwball? Yeah. Screwball's awesome, but
Yes.
it's super sugar. It's a lot of added sugar. This is 0 added sugar. They told me they simply put cinnamon sticks in and let it ferment.
I'm all right with that.
I'll pour you a little. It's a little strong, like cinnamony tasting strong.
Hashtag eat or drink local, right?
Yeah, absolutely. This is good stuff. Jared, you want a little?
Yeah.
Jared, the producer, is here also. He's
Shout out to Jared.
He's like our Jamie of Joe Rogan. So we'll sip on this, try a little. He doesn't have a computer, though. He can't look shit up. Oh, he's got his phone on. All right, good. So let's say cheers to Motorama. Cheers. Take a little sip.
That's good stuff.
It is good, yeah.
Yes.
Wait till it catches in with the ice. I mean, it's good stuff. I had a nice glass the other night. It was super good. So
takes the edge off the night.
Yeah, it's good stuff. It is. I'm not a big like whiskey drinker, but I mean this is good. And I like St. Patrick's Day. We should be doing some Tullamore Dew or some kind of Irish whiskey. I don't have that here. No, I got some beers in the fridge from Fatty though. That's about it. That's about it. So yeah.
Soon there may be a sponsor of the podcast.
Yeah, you never know. We'll give them a little plug. Keep the bottle there for the podcast and sip on that. But yeah, I mean, so tell us about how you got into cars. I mean, back when you were a kid, back when you were, some of your other builds that you had. I mean, I know some of this information, but I know back in the day you started with your dad, right? I mean, it was all
back when I was 13 years old. We had a 57 Chevy my dad bought. He was taking pictures for a friend's wedding, and this guy had a 56 Chevy sedan delivery. My dad's like, "Oh, this is cool." My dad's always been in a car since he was young. So we went out, and my dad bought a 57 Chevy. We took it around, brought the cruise nights and some shows, and we ended up taking a class at BOCES on how to restore a car. So we took my dad's 57 Chevy and just tore it down, started restoring it. In a one-car garage, we learned how to do this. So we were doing it partially in his garage and partially at a BOCES class. So we got more involved in going to car shows. And my dad's been a photographer. So we would go and he was involved in a couple different clubs like the Alcott Beach Car Show. He would go and take pictures, and we'd go and get this is before digital cameras. So we take pictures with a 35 camera, go to Walmart, get the film all developed, bring it back, put it on a negative scanner, load it in a computer, put it on Photoshop, say, hey, this is what your car looks like in front of a beach, in front of an park.
That's cool, yeah.
And we'd take orders and sell pictures to people.
Yeah.
So then what we had to do is the internet was starting to get bigger back, 30 years ago. Well, I don't know how many years the internet. Yeah. How long is the internet? Research. How long until everybody had internet or websites? Looked it up. But we were taking
back in the late 90s,
late 90s,
right?
probably,
Yeah.
So we would take and we put the pictures online. So we added car show and cruise night listings and calendars to it. So we were like a one-stop shop with WNY Car Clubs and then rodandpiston.com that we would have all the different car shows and cruise night listings. And then at one point we almost had 900,000 pictures from pictures that we put up from shows and other people would submit to us. We went through 5 servers trying to do this. It was insane. But we eventually got rid of it because social media took over on all that.
Right.
So that was the start of why we started running car shows. We were doing Alcott Beach Car Show. We started doing a couple of different outside car shows and cruise nights. And then we just became like a nice hub for the hobby in the area.
Yeah.
Fast forward to 2020 or 2010, a lot of people are saying, "Oh, heck, how come there's no indoor show in Buffalo anymore?"
Well, and there used to be, right? What was it called before?
There was. There was a Clutch Artist Autorama,
Yeah.
And then there was a couple other groups that ran the show. It was a World of Wheels, and there was a 4-year break. So I think 2007, 2006 was the last year of the show. We said, okay, let's start the show up. 6 months later, we have a monster.
Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah. Yeah, well, I'm really glad to see it back. I mean, COVID shut everything down, but I mean, for 2 years, and I think the year after that, people were still even hesitant. 2022 last year. I mean, people were still a little hesitant, whatever. But I mean, this year should be good. Everything I've gone to this year has been like really crowded.
It's been insane. Every event that you go into is like over.
Yeah.
I mean, you're getting a lot more people than you pre-COVID years.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. It's awesome. So what did you like? Okay, so you have your old truck now. Crusty. And then you have the Sinister Chevelle. And then what did you build before that? You had a Camaro, right?
I had a 69 Camaro. So I went down the line. I had my dad's 57 Chevy. I bought a 57 Chevy way back when I was a kid that I never finished, and we sold it, and some guy parted it out, which made me cry when I seen the pieces of swap meet. Then I had a 69 Camaro that we restored twice, and that was a fun little car. Sold it like recently and bought my crusty 59 GMC pickup. Something completely different. Had a big block muscle car, 69 Camaro, and going to a Sanford & Son looking pickup truck.
It's cool though.
Which gets tons of attention,
Super cool,
which is kind of fun actually.
Yeah.
And I could just drive it anywhere, park it in a lot, let kids climb all over it inside of it. Doesn't even bother me.
Right, because it looks beat up anyway.
Yeah, it does. And it's worth decent money for
but that's the style, yeah.
That's the style of it. But it's kind of fun because I bring it to the cruise nights and I let kids climb all over it and hopefully get them into the hobby.
Yeah, right. And that's the thing. When you go to cruise nights, you're always like, oh, I'm always, like when I used to take him to cruise nights, like, don't touch anything.
Don't
like,
climb in the car.
No fingerprints on the car. Like,
stay away with your ice cream.
Walk with your hands behind you. So you don't have to, so you don't touch anything.
Keep your keys in your pocket. Yeah, no, not a truck. I'm all right with that. My Chevelle, I will put my foot on your ass if you lean against or something like that.
I know. That's the one thing I learned years ago. I was going with one of my friends. He's like, don't even get close to any of these cars. Like, they will freak out on you. but it's like your babies. I mean, that's, you and everybody else puts a lot of work into these cars, and
there's a ton of work and time and money and everything else into it. Yeah.
I mean, I love seeing it. I never really owned any classic cars, but growing up, I mean, I had 3 Mustangs. I always wanted, like, my dream car back then was the Buick Grand National. Like, I still look at that every now and then on eBay. I'll be like, oh shit, if I see a completely restored or original Grand National or something, those were so cool. I thought, just amazing stuff.
Fun, fast cars, yeah.
Yeah.
And I need a Hellcat.
Yeah, I mean, I love the Hellcat, but yeah, I like Hellcats. I mean, I like the newer Mustangs are pretty cool. Not the E version of the Mustang. I think it's really fucking stupid. I don't know why. Like, why do they call? I never understood that. Why don't they just call it a different name? Like, why do they call it?
Wanted to brand off the Mustang name. It's got success, but it's
dumb,
and Corvette's doing the same thing. They want to have like the E-Vet and.
Oh, are they? Yeah.
Yeah.
But is it going to look like a Vet, or is it going to look like a SUV like this?
They want to do like a Vet that's a hybrid, and you want to do an SUV that's kind of like, I guess how the Mach-E is, the Mustang. I don't know. They got to just think of different names, get creative with them.
Yeah.
Be more fun. I mean, electric cars, you got them out there, and that I'm not sold on them. I mean, they're cool technology, but give me gas guzzling 91 fuel.
I mean,
burning cars. It's more fun.
I mean, the electric cars are definitely whatever. We got the Tesla for the weekend that one time, and it's completely like, that's not even like driving a car in my opinion. It's like completely different. It's like a toy. It's more like a toy to me. Right. You know what I mean? And it's like nothing I've ever driven. It's like you're driving a video game to me.
Right.
I mean, it feels like
with one
just
iPad on your dash.
Right. When you don't have anything in front of you but the steering wheel, you're looking at nothing, and then you have just the iPad next to you. So it takes a while to get used to. Yeah. I mean, there's some good technology too. Like, I like the regenerative braking that's on those.
Oh, yeah.
Was like, when I got it from Matt, he was like, oh yeah, you don't even have to use the brake. I'm like, what are you talking about?
Take your foot off the gas.
Like, you take your foot off the gas and the car literally slows down. You can time it correctly every time. Once you get the hang of it, it's super easy and super fun. But
you liked it so that you could make fart noises in the exterior too.
Right. I like that. I like the alien sound backing up, all that stuff. And I mean, it is cool, but like you said, it's until they figure out, like, we're in the recycling industry, and it's like until they really figure out how we're going to recycle all these batteries, what are we going to do? They're just going to keep piling up in yards, basically.
That's realistically what they're doing now. And yeah, if they have some type of system for that, but I mean, to that point, for manufacturing and for disposing of.
Right. Yeah, I mean, when the guy comes along and the guy that can recycle the batteries and actually find a way to reuse them.
He is a billionaire.
Right, exactly.
Trillionaire.
So I'm sure there's people working on it, but I don't think that part of it is there yet to catch up to the rest of it or whatever. So
they're pushing them fast. They're really pushing them to go to all electric vehicles.
Yeah.
Which,
Well, and now, it used to be just Tesla and maybe a couple other,
right.
Weird ones, but it was, now it's like every car company has a 100% electric car, it seems like.
Right.
Almost everyone that I've seen anyway, but, and I never driven any other ones but the Tesla, but,
You're starting to see actually a couple of people take the Teslas, like a wrecked Tesla, and put them into a classic car.
Yeah.
I was up in Toronto at the Toronto Motorama last week, and there's a 62 Chevy pickup that had all the internals of a Tesla. It had a solar panel on the bed.
Oh, really?
And a battery. It was actually really well
crazy.
done. And the interior was all like digital with it, but it still kept the classic look.
Yeah.
I dig that, but it's still not a gas guzzler.
Yeah.
I like my gas guzzlers.
It is. So are you more of a like original guy or custom build guy or, like I think in the car industry, there's guys that like, or guys and girls that like, the original, like 100% original cars, but then like the custom builds are amazing. You take an old car and you add new technology to it.
Right.
That just makes it so much better. Like my brother-in-law, Steve.
Yes.
He's been doing, he's been rebuilding cars forever. But he told me it's like you cannot beat the modern technology of power steering, power brakes, all that stuff. It's like he just recently bought a Camaro, one of the new ones, and he's like, I don't think I'm ever buying another classic car.
I appreciate the classic cars of their look and everything else, but I mean, say for example, Krusty, my '59 GMC, that rides like a piece of crap.
Yeah.
It's a '59 GMC. But you could take those, you could put them on like modern upgraded frames and brakes and suspension. Right. You got drum brakes, 6-lug wheels, and no power brakes, and their suspension is just, no rack and pinion or anything like that.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
It's not a fun vehicle to drive, but you can upgrade. I'm a fan of classic looking and keep it looking close to original.
Yeah.
With all modern underpinnings.
I mean, some of those old, like I can imagine like how fun some of those old, stick shift cars where you're jamming, it's like you're driving, you know what I mean? It's like you are driving when you're driving one of those, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And I mean, a lot of them now are like, clutchless. So, I mean, you're going through your paddle shift or anything like that.
Yeah, exactly.
If you have something banging through the gears, pushing the clutch in and doing that, a lot of cars are getting away from that. I mean, it's a theft deterrent now because, we put that out there. A lot of kids don't know how to drive a stick.
Right.
You know how to drive a stick, Jared?
Yeah. No,
he
doesn't. Yeah.
He does not. On a video game, right?
On the F1 video game.
Oh, yeah.
I'm pretty good at that.
Yeah.
That's like paddle shifting, though, right?
Well, yeah, that's all the
Yeah.
Yeah.
The stick you could buy and
yeah. It's a lost art for sure. I remember when I had my stick, like that was the thing. Nobody could drive it. I was like, oh, can you pick up my car or something? They're like, oh, it's a stick. I can't drive a stick. And like Amy too, is like, I kidded her about, like I'm going to buy a Mustang. It's going to be a stick shift.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, I don't know.
I guess I can't drive it then.
Yeah. It's like, well, I don't know how to drive that.
I guess I'm getting a stick shift
like,
car.
okay,
Sorry, Amy.
But it's definitely an art. I mean, I bought mine and I didn't even know how to drive it. I learned how to drive it when I got it.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's a learning process where it's release that clutch and push down the gas at the right time.
Don't stall it.
Yeah.
Don't grind the gears.
How many times did that is the worst. When I had my car and I was learning how to do it, it's like, how many times did I stall at a red light when I'm making a left-hand turn and I'm stuck in the intersection? Like, people are like, what the fuck, man? I'm like, I'm just learning how to drive this thing.
The worst is like, I remember doing this is, I really didn't get to learn how to drive stick until later on. I drove a 3-on-the-tree stick on my dad's like 80s Chevy van, which didn't really count. But later on, I didn't really get to drive a stick until back in like probably early 2000s. Yeah. I was working at a dealership, and there was a stick car on the lot, and I just learned how to drive it in the lot, and I ground the hell out of it.
Yeah.
But it didn't matter because, but here it is. I'm going to be driving like, sports cars and everything else that were stick shift. And I'm like, I have to learn how to drive one of these.
Yeah.
And I'm driving Porsche and Corvettes and Camaros and Mustangs. I had to learn how to do it on something first, but there's nothing really for me to drive on. Everything I had was on automatic.
Yeah. Yeah, and like you said, everything's paddle shift today, really.
Yeah.
I mean, even the Infinity we had, it was like,
oh, yeah.
I used to drive it purposely in paddle shift mode, but it was actually like you could shift the gear lever over, and you were actually like moving it up and down, like you were shifting, but there was no clutch.
It's not the same. It's not the same.
No, it's not
similar,
the same
but
at
not
all.
the same.
It's not the same at all. But it still was a little more fun than driving in, regular automatic mode or whatever. But I mean. But yeah, there was nothing like driving an actual stick. I mean, I'd love to get something someday that I can relive those memories.
Your Hellcat.
I know. Yeah.
Dodge if you're watching.
Yeah. Dodge if you're watching. Yeah. Yeah.
I
do. I love the Hellcat. I love the we were looking at the Chargers too, and those are.
I like those.
Those are cool. Yeah. I mean, for a 4-door.
For a 4-door, but it's still badass.
4-door sedan. Yeah. I mean, those are cool, and that's like there's not many of those 4-door. Sedan, the 4-door larger sedans around even today.
No.
We had the Chrysler 300. That's like the biggest sedan on the market right now.
Yeah.
Largest, I mean, not
you don't see that in other brands. I mean, Chevy's not doing it. Ford's really not.
Right, and even the Cadillacs, they're not that big. They're constantly streamlining those Cadillacs to be, a little bit smaller and a little bit more rounded and all that, but
it's not the same size as like a 300 or a Charger. It seems.
But I mean, you drive the 300, and that's every bit as big as my, wide as my Escalade. It seems like. I mean, it's like a big car. I mean, he drives it now, so it's.
They just started putting the V8s in the new ones.
Yeah. Oh, that's right.
You can get a 2023
The all-wheel drive V8s. Yeah. Yeah.
What else do you need?
Yeah.
It's like perfect.
That's like
that car.
Yeah.
Until they go to an electric.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, Chryslers are pretty, I don't know, they're underrated because like there's so much like weird technology that they come out with and everybody else copies. It seems like the dial shifter for the gears.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they were the first ones to come out with that. I think. I don't know.
It could be.
Seemed
Check that. Look that up.
Yeah. Seemed like they were, because Ram trucks had it too. Yeah. Yeah, they had it too. So
I got the dial shifter on our Ford, and it's cool and all, but I still like the stick shift. I know I'm one of those guys that like, because driving a stick shift for a while and doing that, but you always have your hand on the stick shift. You're not 10 and 2.
Right.
It's 10 and shifter.
That's what I like about my Escalade is that it still has the big shifter on the column.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like you don't see many of those anymore either.
No, you don't. Yeah, all the big vehicles still
like
have
that
those.
still has the thing on the column, But yeah, I know for a new car it still has it, So there's some things that are super modern about that car, but like that's still
old
don't,
school.
Well, and I still don't understand how all the there's gonna be 1 million cameras on the car, and I still don't understand how they get that overhead shot. Remember that shows you like exactly where you are. I mean, that's just.
It's a drone. It pops up when you're driving.
It's
it
weird.
Just
I don't understand how it superimposes
it's
that.
Flying over you and shows all the views.
That image of you from the top. I'm like, how are they getting that? And I keep looking up.
I know when you first got your truck, here it is. I'm climbing around. I'm like, where's this camera on here?
Yeah.
I'm trying to see where it is.
You can walk around and see all the cameras, but still not as many as a Tesla. But
still. No. Technology is fun and cool.
I did find it.
Yeah, what do you got?
They introduced it in the 2013 Ram 1500. From there, they put it in the Chrysler 300, the Pacifica, and the 200.
Oh, so it started in the Ram truck, huh?
Yeah.
But that was the first company to use the dial shifting.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Huh.
I myself, if you got your dial shift, if you got your column shift, or you got your floor, I still like the floor shift.
Yeah.
On that.
Yeah. Yeah, I do too.
Granted, they had back in a couple of cars, like Etzel's and a couple of cars, they had push button on the steering wheel.
Oh,
or on the
really?
dash. Like Dodge and I think some Etzel's, they had it so that you had a push button on the steering wheel, so you could select your gear, or it's on the dash itself. You have a push button for it.
Yeah.
Some Lincolns have that. They have like buttons where it's like.
The newer ones?
I believe so.
I think the newer Mustangs have
Possibly.
that too. The automatic Mustangs have
Yeah.
It's
that.
like buttons
Yeah.
for the
Yeah.
gears, like you hit drive or you hit.
Yeah.
I don't know. Once you get away from like a mechanical type thing, it's all computer. I mean, you get the like Microsoft blue screen to death, and you're like, shit, I can't shift. You know, whereas you could on your caddy, all you got to do is just hit the
Right,
pull
exactly.
the lever down, and you're in drive.
But that's weird about my Cadillac. It's like you have that, but then you have a completely digital screen.
Yeah.
Like there's no speedometer. It's all digital. You know
We're
what I
going
mean?
all modern, but we have the
Yeah.
column shift.
I mean, there's a speedometer,
Yeah.
but it's computer generated. You know
Yeah.
what I mean, it's weird. Yeah.
it's like we're gonna 99%, and this 1% is gonna be this. We're gonna stick with that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of weird how they design that, but it's but some of the technology is crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, even the brand new Escalades are amazing. They have that huge screen with everything on it. And,
All the way across. It's
Yeah.
almost a wraparound. Yeah.
yeah. And even on the same kind of deal on the Grand Wagoneer too. I remember seeing that. Those are stupid expensive, but
Stupid expensive, but it's just the technology and the size of those. I mean, that's I guess the comparison of like what an Escalade and a Tahoe.
yeah,
An XL
Tahoe,
or something,
Yukon,
probably, Yukon, yeah.
It's like the same family of large SUV or whatever.
They had to come to the party with something. Yeah.
They did. They came to the party. So, but yeah, getting back to I love the original builds, but I love when they custom. They take like a '65 Mustang and they make it modern. They put all the modern technology in and make it. But I mean, those builds are so expensive nowadays. It's just unbelievable. Like
They are. Well, I mean, those are called Resto Mod, Pro Touring on that. And you got some shops that are like, $200,000 to, I mean, there's stuff that's like been built for, say the Detroit Autorama that people go for the Riddler. They're spending like $3-4 million you're hearing now.
Yeah.
And for a guy to build that, I mean, a shop has got to be like, chomping at the bit to do something like that type of build.
Right.
But I mean, it's a rich man game now.
It really is. I mean, you watch like the Barrett Jackson auctions and stuff like that. I mean, you just can't believe. Like, I always think they're like, who are these people buying these cars? Like, it's a stupid amount of money.
The thing about that, and I've been saying this for the past couple of years, is like Barrett Jackson, Meekum, all these auctions. A lot of these cars go through. These cars are better than stock. You're getting like, say, an exotic car, or you're getting like like a '65 Mustang Fastback, or a Shelby, or a '70 Chevelle LS6. These cars have always had good values on them.
Yeah.
But the thing is their prominence has brought them to a higher level. I mean, you're seeing a car that was like probably pre-COVID, it was like $80,000, and you're seeing people buying for like $300,000, $400,000 now on some.
That's what I noticed too, because I remember watching like a number of years ago, even maybe during COVID, it seemed like the cars were much cheaper. It seemed like you could pick up an old Camaro or it's something that was you get something pretty nice for like 20,000-25,000.
Oh, yeah.
It seemed like, but now I watched the last one, I'm like, holy cow, there's nothing under like 50,000-60,000.
You can't get in a game. It's like it's pushed a lot of people out of the hobby that are able to, they want to get into it.
Right.
I mean, even for example, my crusty truck. I mean, back at one point it was you buy those dime a dozen for like $4,000 or $5,000.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, in the shape that it is, it's like $30,000, $40,000 for something like that.
Yeah.
It's pushed a lot of people out of the market, and which kind of sucks because you want to have more people get involved in this.
Yeah.
You see some people go towards the newer cars, your Camaros, your Mustangs, your Corvettes. And that, but you want to see people continue the classic part of it.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's still people getting something, and there's it's driver's condition, and they're just going on and just enjoying it.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like do you want to buy a classic car for that crazy amount of money? You could go buy a new sports car,
right?
For probably less.
You could go out and spend like 30-40 grand on a used newer Camaro,
right?
And you have all the performance and upgrade, push button start, and LS motor, and have fun with that.
That's like Steve. That's why Steve did it.
Right.
He's like building his whatever. He's built a bunch of different cars, and we should have had him in here. He's built like he had a Buick Sun Coupe, it was called.
Yeah.
So it it was weird. It wasn't a convertible, but it had like the rollback top.
The tuna can top.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And that thing was mint. I mean, he took it to a lot of different shows and won first place, and he ended up selling it or whatever. But I mean, he's had that. He's had a bunch of different Corvettes, but I mean, he's getting, he's a little bit older now, but it's like he's
simple.
just tired of tired of working to drive a car, So.
I'm at that point now, like with mine, I have like the original big blocks and small blocks on my stuff. But now anything that I want to own or build is going to have like the newer technology, like an LS motor or something. I want to have something that's got more dependable and better on gas and performances. I mean, all the old school has been proven and everything else.
Yeah.
But to put in something with the newer technology, I mean, the safety and the performance is just much better now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you make it look good. I mean, it matches the car. You can make it work with it.
Right, exactly. If you're looking to get into that market, you're almost better off buying something new or a few years old. Like you can pick up a 5-liter Mustang that's not,
right.
That's, a few years old. That's, 25, 35,000, something like that. Not even, you know what I mean?
Right.
And like,
and it's used as a stepping stone. You could always buy something else later on, but I have something at least to be in the game.
Yeah.
Like across all the brands.
Yeah.
But it's enjoyable. It's just really, I mean, it's a fun hobby to be in. I mean, it's like a network of all these different people.
Yeah, that's the thing too. It's more, it's like all these guys. Like I worked, whatever. I helped you do I didn't help you do anything. I just showed up and stood around mostly. But the Kenmore Auto Show, but it's like all those guys coming in. It's like every one of those guys, it's like a closed, little close family of people in the area that like doing that. But I mean, for this, so you get a lot of out of towners too, right? I mean,
I do. Yeah, we get a lot of people from different states to come out, and the thing is, it's kind of built its name to have a reputation.
Yeah.
So we get people that are coming from different states to show their cars or be a vendor, show their motorcycles. Just because there's a lot of in the wintertime, fall and winter, there's a lot of circuit cars that go around to different areas in the Northeast. So we're one of the last events. So, they do Toronto and Detroit, Cleveland, Pittsburgh, and us.
So how you went to Toronto, how large was that compared to yours? I mean,
Toronto's a huge demographic. But I think they had 400 cars there. So, I mean, it's twice the size. Yeah. I mean, it's a much bigger building.
Right.
For the Buffalo Convention Center, I mean, we max out. We use both floors. We use every square foot that we possibly could use on it.
Right. Yeah. But, I mean, it seems like you've got as many cars as you can get in there. Every time I've been there, it seems pretty packed.
I have to keep the fire chief happy with the space and walkways and everything else. So, I mean, I make a hazard, so we try to make a map to fit as much as we could on there. And then we get some overflow. So I have a couple cars that are already on my overflow list. So if I lose a car, I could gain a car. Yeah. Which is a great problem to have. Yeah. And especially going like here it is, we're just before the show. We got a lot of overflow, but I mean, there's going to always be an issue where somebody's not going to be able to make it. So we just take it and we get a new one in. Right. But the last week of the show, we always end up getting a bunch of additional cars. Hey, the weather looks nice. I want to bring my car up. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's always last minute Lucy's. A lot of those. It was fun last year. We did this 3 times. We lost 2 cars. Within a half an hour, we gained 2 cars. Lost 2 cars, gained 2 cars. Lost 2, gained 2. It was insane. So we had the exact same amount of cars that we wanted to go into this with. Yeah. And it happened 3 times. And it's just such a weird thing. But it was like, it's crazy. My guys are saying, we lost this 1 car. And like half an hour later, we fill the spots. And I was like, this is it's so weird, but it's just amazing that it happened like that. Well, and that's the thing. It's like you get the more people you get contacting you last minute is probably a good thing, because then if you have people drop out or whatever, then you just add them right back in. Yeah. And here it is. I'm watching this with a lot of the motorcycles don't want to trailer in, so they want to drive in. So I'm watching the weather, and I'm seeing Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and it actually looks nice for loading on Thursday. Yeah. So I'm going to probably have like all these guys with motorcycles be like, I want to put my bike in. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So how many motorcycles do you have there? We'll probably have about 40 at the moment, but we might have more. I mean, it could be insane, like the time period. Like a combined amount of cars, bikes, snowmobiles, trucks. we're about 230, I think we're at.
Yeah, and then you have an like open wheel room too, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's got like 50 bikes or 50 cars and bikes in there.
Yeah.
That room's cool. It's like I call it the show within the show. It has all the hot rods, has pinstripers and artists. We have live bands. I give Paul Strauss, one of my favorite people, as I call him. I give him full reign to the room, and I just say, just tell me what you're doing.
Yeah.
And he goes in, he sets it all up and does this, and it works out awesome, but it's kind of cool. I get my breakaway. I go from my office, and I'm usually hibernating in, go down to his room, and I just chill in there and just listen to bands and watch some artists.
Right.
It's really fun.
Yeah.
And it's a whole different world in that room with all the open wheel cars. And
it is. It's completely different. Yeah, for sure. So you still do awards and things like that?
Yeah, we got the awards. Got to have the awards. People want those. So we give out like 150 awards. You know, we got from best of show and all these best of classes, and then all the specials.
Yeah.
So we do that. You got to have that, and we got judges that are, you know, pretty serious about it. You know, they're ISCA and MCA style judge, and they combined and they made their own format for it. So they'll go around and they'll look at all these cars in a 100-point system to go around and judge them.
Oh,
so
really? I didn't know it was that involved. I thought it was just like you walking around picking up. Yeah, I like that one. I like that one.
No, the funny I tell people this when I'm doing this is I don't want to have anything involved in picking awards. I don't want to know who wins until like they give me the list of who's the one. Right. So they have a sheet that has like a 100-point system. And this is good inside information. Yeah, 100-point system. And it's ranked on interior and engine and cleanliness and underbody.
Awesome. I never would have known. Yeah.
And all this. Yeah. And they go through with the chart. And my guys, I got a bunch of nerds on my panel. Yeah. So they have a whole like website and app that we have all this. And they're going through with iPads and they're judging this. It's insane. But they're crawling underneath it and they're looking to see how clean it is, the interior. Yeah. And they'll rank them all 100-point systems. So the cars are ranked against themselves as well as like in certain categories. It's really involved.
So do they do that as the cars are loading or during the show?
No.
So they're walking around during the show?
So Wednesday and Thursday, we're going to load in all the cars. On Thursday, they're going to walk around and get an idea of what's there. And then on Friday, Saturday, they're going to walk around as groups. We have like a couple different groups to go around and judge all the cars. And they also do it when we're closed. So they tell the owners of the cars, keep your trunk and your hood open. Oh, okay. You know, they're going to go around and just look at it when there's nobody around because, you know, unobstructed. Right. And they'll do that. But they have to do this for 200 and, some are, you know, probably about 170 vehicles. Yeah.
Which so that's what I wondered, like how long it takes them to do all that.
Yeah, not the, I like this, I like this.
Right, exactly.
Outdoor shows are a little different. You don't climb underneath everything and judge on that. But the indoor show is because you have more time. There's a lot more criteria on it.
I'm such a novice. I'm like, I like the red one. The red's a nice color.
There's the 5 city pick right there. Yes.
Yeah.
No, it's a lot more involved in it. And like I said, I try to stay out of it, and with the whole thing, I trust them to do it. And then at the end, when I'm shaking their hand and saying, hey, congratulations, I like that. I like it actually to be more of a surprise for myself when I'm giving the award to them.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
I know what's coming to the show, and I could kind of have an idea of what's going to win like the top awards. Yeah. But until like probably an hour before we actually do that, that's really the only time I find out when it is.
That's awesome.
Which is, I like it that way because it keeps the politics out of it. I don't want to have, you know, this person's got to win an award. I don't want to do any of that.
Well, and that's the thing. You get people complaining, especially if you were involved picking the awards. Then people
zero involvement.
You get enough people complaining, I'm sure, about dumb things. So
it's been getting better as time goes on. As something gets more streamlined, you get less and less. I mean, there's always stuff like that. Yeah. But with the awards and that, I mean, it's the least amount involvement of myself in there, so that, you know, the less politics involved in it. Yeah, and it works out good. But you got to have those with it. And, you know, there's the plaques, and we have like the wood plaques, and we have some glass ones that one of our guys make with the logo on it, which are amazing. And then we have like the best of, and I have a custom metal award being made. Cool. That, you know, goes to the best of show.
That's awesome.
With that, so you know. It's a fun and pride thing for all these guys, you know, because it's a lot of work into it. But realistically, I want the show to be something just more of a fun experience for everybody to come out, you know, even the spectators or the participants to come out, have some fun with their friends and family, enjoy it, and meet other people. I mean, we all meet each other, and it's a huge networking thing. I mean, right. You know, with doing this or with doing car shows for 36 years now, insane, older than Jared.
Yeah.
But I mean, this is like pretty much how we all meet each other. It's
Yeah.
just a huge network.
Right.
Of, you know,
But I remember bringing him. I mean, he was, 11 years ago. You were 13 or 14.
He was in
It's like
diapers.
you bring your kids. It's just something cool it's something different. Like if you're
Right.
not even in the car industry or you're not even into collecting cars or into the scene, it's just a cool thing to come out and see these different cars. I mean, there's so many different. You see all the cars on the road today, but you can see some really cool cars here. I mean,
Well, and that's the thing with this. I mean, this is really honestly history.
right.
You're seeing like a museum for a weekend, and you're collecting all these different cars in there. I mean, like we had the movie cars. I mean, obviously everybody knows the General Lee, Dukes of Hazzard, but I mean, American Graffiti is coming out.
Yeah.
The
that's
guy's
awesome.
got the 2 cars from that. It's the 50th anniversary of the movie.
Yeah. That's
To
awesome.
see that, and then A Christmas Story. We got the fire truck, the actual real fire truck from the movie, is coming down
yeah.
from Canada. I mean,
Yeah.
that's cool history for the TV and movie part.
Right.
But with all the cars that are being built, I mean, you got some original cars, like we got some really cool original Volkswagens that are going to be on display, the
Right.
buses.
Right.
But it's
Right.
like you don't get to see those a lot.
Right, exactly. That's the thing. You never see them on the road, really, unless you go to one of these shows. You're
Right.
just not seeing them.
You're going to see them
just
drive
not.
from the person's house
Right.
to the show
Right.
and then back to
And
the
if you happen to
garage.
see one driving on the road, you're like, "Holy shit! Look at that!"
Yeah, it's like, cool. Hey, come on. But it's more than anything that. And then a lot of these guys, like a lot of feature cars that I have, these are cars that are like, some of them are first time that they're ever going to be shown. I mean, these guys are still putting them together.
Yeah.
So a week before the show, they're still wrenching on this to put it out and display it for everybody to see.
Right.
But just to see, some of the cool stuff that was built back from like the 20s to modern times.
That's what I like looking at. Like the open wheel room is
Yeah.
just amazing. It's just to see like what those, it's like some of those cars is like you see, cars today, how like your seats are so comfortable and your like the amenities you have in your car now. And then you look at one of those cars, you're like, holy shit, I couldn't drive from here to Tops.
You're sitting on a
in
milk
that.
crate or
Right.
something.
You're
Some guys
sitting
got
on
milk
like a
crates or pieces
bench.
of wood or
Like
a street
right.
sign bent around so your hips fit in there.
Exactly.
Shit's not comfortable.
Yeah, exactly.
And getting into it, I mean, you've pretty much got to have a good back to be able to get into half of these things.
Yeah, some of those are just unbelievable.
But I mean, that's what's cool about those,
Yeah.
I mean, that's what they did back in the 50s and 60s. There was hot rodding. They were building them like that.
Right.
And they're not for comfort. None of them. I mean, and half of them are rusty, or you got floor pans are made out of street signs and that.
Yeah.
Not safe, but they are really, I mean, it's just really cool to see.
Yeah.
Eyepieces on it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's cool. It's cool for the kids to see, like, I know a couple of years you had like the Batmobile and
Ghostbusters and Scooby-Doo and
Kit Car from whatever. But what was that show called? Knight Rider.
Knight Rider, yeah.
Yeah, that was cool. But it's cool to like I said, when he was younger, I used to take him up there and just, I mean, he was just amazed, like looking around. I still have a picture of him with the General Lee, like comes up in my pictures every now and then.
You could sit in a General Lee next weekend too. You could.
They
He'll let people
there? Really?
So the guy that owns that, Kevin, a good dude, he brought it out. We brought him out with the anticipation we were going to try to get Daisy Duke again. We had Daisy Duke coming, and then COVID hit.
Yeah.
So a week and a half before the show, we lost all that. So I was trying to get her again. She got other commitments on it, but he brought it out last year just because he wanted to have it out for the first time in the show, and he probably let like 500 people sit in it and take pictures or whatever. He just loved it, and the dude's hinges are probably worn off from opening the door for everybody to do that. But he's completely cool with people doing it. So I mean, we got that. We just added the Blues Brothers car.
Oh, you told me that.
That's
awesome.
coming on
I
too.
can't wait
So
to see that.
just a late addition to it. But it's just another iconic car that's coming out.
Right. Yeah. All right. Good.
Yeah.
Anything else you got, Dad? I think I'm good anyway. Jared, you got anything to add?
I think we're good.
Did you try your cinnamon whiskey?
It's all gone. I know. I was going to leave it a little for like the picture quality here. So yeah.
It's pretty good. You can. Yeah. I wouldn't drink like 2 glass. I don't know. I drank like 1 of these maybe.
So Four Flights Distillery. Hey. Shout out.
Four Flights Distillery. Corning, New York. It is good. I really like it, but it's a very strong cinnamon taste. Yeah.
It's not too bad.
Really?
You might be a lightweight.
I am a lightweight for sure. But
Next one, we're gonna have to break out some other bourbon and stuff.
I don't know.
like that
We
to
should
try to
have
do
brought
that.
out some Tullamore Dew.
Tullamore Dew,
Yeah,
man,
this is
it's
good.
this.
Corn distilled from 100% corn. So
So yeah,
good stuff. But
so
yeah, let's show it again, March 24th to the 26th.
BuffaloMotorama.com.
So next week, but we're filming this on St. Patrick's Day the 17th, but it'll probably be out Monday, so Monday before the show. But yeah, March 24th, 26th, Buffalo Convention Center. Come on down, Buffalo Motorama. A lot of fun stuff. Everybody.
Yo, I'm just lounging,
All right.
baby.
Thanks,
How
buddy.
you living? I'm lounging.